horrible. Hi there, Sage Candidate of VO2 Max Productions here with another training talk. So this is the third official training talk Thursday, and again I really appreciate all the comments and all the thumbs up, all the votes for this comment that we're going to talk about today, which came from Stan, and he asked, you know, what's your take on the whole minimalist slash barefoot type of running? You know, should you work into that? What are the maybe benefits or drawbacks? Basically the minimalist movement. And I kind of feel like you guys set me up here a little bit because obviously I'm sponsored by Hoka, and I'll come clean, I've never really been a real minimalist. I mean, I obviously have been sponsored by a lot of different shoe companies over the year, from Brooks Sports right out of college to Scott Sports to Hoka 1-1 now, and running a lot of different shoe models. I worked in retail at a specialty run store in Michigan for a couple years, and so I've seen a lot of feet, seen a lot of different shoe models. I was there when, you know, Vibrams hit the shelves and everything like that. And you know, another big component of course is this book right here. Read this a while ago, right when it came out basically, and this really I think helped spark the whole minimalist type of movement, at least in the US, and got a lot of people aware of, you know, maybe I should try, you know, a more minimal shoe, or, you know, look at the offset or the drop in a shoe. And, you know, there's a lot of variables at play. And you know, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a podiatrist. This is kind of a disclaimer. So take my advice with a grain of salt as always, and, you know, look at your individual differences in your biomechanics and your injury history or your bone density and things like that, because there are a lot of variables at play. I'm not going to just say, you know, this is better than this and you should get this shoe because of this. It is more complicated than that, but it's also going to be really simple, and I'll go into that here, trying to make this training talk not too long of a rant. And you know, I do have have a Bachelor of Science from Cornell University in ergonomic design, so I have taken some bio, some chemistry, anatomy, and looked at some different aspects, physics, you know, things like that. And I think what it ultimately boils down to with running, and even, you know, what shoe you have and everything like that, is it's not necessarily maybe the shoe that you have on your feet. It definitely, you know, shoes help with different services, I think, but I think you could run with good form no matter what you wear. So like you know, one of the proponents of barefoot running or the minimalist movement was that, you know, oh, you're gonna not ever be a heel striker, and you're gonna, you know, run on the ball of your feet, and you're gonna have this you know, strengthen your arch, and your foot muscles get stronger and get faster. But on the same token, I think that, you know, even in a really maximal cushion shoe, or even a shoe with a big offset, if you're running with good form and you're aware of what good form is when you're running, it's really not going to change that much. Now obviously if it's a huge incline plane, a huge slab of a heel, and that, you know, the shoe doesn't have a kind of a curve to it, then yeah, you know, maybe, you know, if your foot's coming down at this type of vector, you're gonna land farther back maybe a little bit. And you know, when you run barefoot, you get that sensation of, you know, not really slamming your heel into the ground. It's not a natural thing to do. You're actually you know, feeling where you're springing off of, maybe on the ball of your foot, maybe landing more midfoot, and you are aware of that. You know, in college, high school, after workouts, sometimes we jog around on the grass infield, and it would feel great. You know, the grass between your toes, and you throw off those track spikes, which are also pretty flexible and minimal. Granted, we were running on a track and we were running on this artificial grass surface, but yeah, it feels great. We have Sandy and I coach a lot of athletes, and we'll recommend you know, some barefoot cool downs and things like that. But my other argument is, and this is I think really important in the debate, is that we could call it a debate, I think. You know, humans evolved to run long distances by foot and to run barefoot. Like that I think you know, has been shown. We're bipedal, we could go pretty far without water and food. We could dissipate heat really well. We don't have very much body hair compared to most mammals. So, you know, we are cut out to run long distances on foot with you know, with our feet as being our guide. But, and this is a big but, you know, nowadays we're not running across the plains on grass. We're not running on dirt through the woods as much, unless you're a trail runner, which is great. But there are other obstacles and rocks and things like that. But the majority of us are running on asphalt. You know, we live in cities with concrete and asphalt, these really artificially hard surfaces. And even if we're trying to get to the trails, a lot of times we have to run across these things, and, you know, there could be drug needles or broken glass and nails and things like that that you really, you know, maybe they weren't there previously in other environments. Maybe they're not there for the Tarahumara and, you know, Copper Canyon, or a lot of the Kenyans and Ethiopians that grow up running barefoot in poverty. They're still on maybe dirt roads or gravel roads still. And so it is a soft, forgiving surface, and they're also developing at a very young age running with barefoot or really minimalist sandals or things like that. So you know, you take a runner that's been in a first world country like the US, and we've grown up on concrete and asphalt, and then, you know, you try to switch to from a cushion shoe to a really minimalist shoe, and it's you know, there's an injury risk there. And, you know, people say, you know, with the cushion shoes that you develop these bad habits and bad forms. Well, yeah, you can develop bad habits just through the act of running. And I'd recommend checking out, Sandy and I did a running form video, and I'll link to it right there. It's on our channel, and we've actually done several running form videos, but I think this one's our best. And we talk about the actual components of good, proper running form, the biomechanics. And again, I'll restate again, I could wear, you know, the Mafate here, and, you know, as long as I'm thinking about good mechanics, good running form, as long as you don't actually think, oh, I'm wearing a big cushion shoe, that means I could slap the pavement, I could slap my foot down harder. You should run really the same way that you would run in any type of shoe. And obviously, like motion control, stability posts and things like that could change the game, custom orthotics, and sometimes that's a good game changer for a lot of people that I've seen in specialty running stores. Like, you know, we're born to run, but some of us are more prone to injury, and that could be tied with lifestyle choices, it could be tied to diet, it could be tied to, you know, how you grew up, your bone density, or, you know, types of sports or previous activities that you did as a child. And so we have all these variables at play. And so to say, you know, minimalism is better or maximum is better, I think is really kind of a moot point. So I think it's good to be aware of your proprioception, to have that awareness of how your foot lands, of what, you know, the surface that you're running on feels like, and to feel across the ground. I think that does help enforce proper biomechanics. And I do a mental imagery trick where I try to always visualize either the pavement or the ground or any trail you're running on is a thin layer of ice, and you don't want to break the ice, or it's this hotbed of coals that you always want to land light-footed on. And even if you're wearing a highly cushioned shoe like you know, some of the Hoka models, you still want to visualize that. It's not like you want to always slap your foot down like pogo sticks. You want your legs rolling over the ground more like wheels. And again, I linked to that running form video that Sandy and I put out on her channel, Running Wild to Believe, to teach you the proper biomechanics. And I think you could learn this in any shoe that you're wearing. And obviously, with individual differences and all these variations aside, you know, you should go to a specialty run, your local specialty run store, and get you know, checked out. At least videotape yourself running, so you kind of know what to expect and what type of shoe might be a good fit for you. But as far as the, you know, total barefoot immersion goes, you got to look at your environment. You know, what kinds of surfaces do you have available to you? Is it this artificially hard surface like concrete or pavement that I believe that the human anatomy is not designed to run on barefoot? I mean, if I wanted to, I could go out and run a marathon on the pavement and make it through probably, but it's probably gonna hurt pretty bad. And I don't think, you know, I haven't seen anyone. Oh, there actually have been some Kenyans and Ethiopians that have run pretty fast in the marathon barefoot, but once they get a shoe contract, they're not doing that anymore. And I think now you can actually run a lot faster because you do get some return with shoes on pavement, and that's for road marathoning. Trail running's a little bit different, but again, I don't want to cut my foot on a sharp rock. So that's my opinion, my take on it. Obviously, there's been a lot of research gone back and forth with this. Dr. Lieberman, who's mentioned in Born to Run, of course, and you know, his studies at Harvard have gone into this quite extensively, but I don't think anything's actually been proven one way. If if you've seen something, prove me wrong. You could comment in it below. I'm sure this is gonna ruffle some feathers, this debate, because I know people are pretty passionate about it, and I think it's interesting to talk about, and it's interesting to see in the evolution of shoe design, and these different brands coming out with whatever. But as I'll always stick with it, running form, your running form, and being aware of your own body and what you could do to improve and become more efficient and hopefully more injury resistant is really the important takeaway here. And the shoes are just another tool that you use to aid your training, to aid your physical fitness. And again, really good comment. Thank you so much for all the feedback and voting. There were a lot of good topics posted in this, and I do want to keep the Training Talk Thursdays going. So thanks for watching the video, thanks for sharing, thanks for subscribing, and feel free to comment below for a topic for next week and vote. Thanks again for all the support. I really appreciate it. And stay tuned for more VO2 Max Productions.